Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Ormark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today I thought we'd start doing some Easter cards because we're approaching Easter time, and I think that my garden is now full of beautiful daffodils, and this is one of my favourite stamps. We've got the new annual catalogue coming out, and towards the end of this month, as a demonstrator, I'll find out what's being carried over. So this one may not be. I've no idea, but if it isn't, it's one that's probably worth having a look at. So it's called Daffodil Daydream, and it's on, let me just find it for you. It is on Daffodil Daydream. It is on page 21 of the annual catalogue. So let's quickly find that. 24, 21, there we go. Daffodil Daydream. So it's this one on page 21 of the catalogue, and it's a beautiful stamp set. It has a coordinating die, which will make 3D daffodils, but I'm not using that today. I'm literally just using this one. The only reason I'm using the dies is to just cut the outlines out. If you want to, you can fussy cut them, or you can do them without. This is the poppy dies, says me. I'm just throwing it everywhere as usual. I've just taken those out because we're going to do some sort of embellishments on them. Anyway, let's get going. Daffodil Daydream. I'm taking this daffodil image, and what I've done is I have already die cut it out. Okay, so it's that one, and I've just die cut it out. As I say, you can fussy cut it. It's not too difficult an image to fussy cut, but if you want to, it's quite easy to just use it. Now I'm going to get a scrap of paper to go underneath because I think that that will make it a little easier for you to see. There we go, that's better. Okay, so I'm going to just very quickly colour this in. I've taken Daffodil Delight Light and Dark in the blends, and I've taken Granny Apple Green in the light and the dark of the blends. So I tend to use my dark first. I'm going to use the wider tip, and so I'm just literally just taking the dark down where the shadow is going to be. In fact, I'm going to take the smaller tip because it's slightly easier now that it's die cut out. So I'm just going to take the dark in on the inside and then up that piece, and then just, it's difficult to see where these leaves come down, isn't it? So I think it's about there. Might have just missed it completely. I always find doing the leaves first. In fact, I'm going to do it in the light because I can't, this is where you get your eyesight is not very good to be able to see where it comes down. So if I start it from the top, take it up like that, then I can follow this one down on both sides, so I can make sure that I can see where the bottom is. Now, if you're a young stamper, you'll probably be able to manage it quite well, but being an older stamper, they don't always take into account eyesight and not being able to, so that's got to come down in on here. I think they do come almost all the way down on here, because that comes in on that one comes in on there, up in that leaf, and then these pieces need to come up as well because they're the stems of the daffodils. Down on there, stem on there, that one comes in like that, down there, down there on that leaf. can come in on this one. Okay, so I'm just going to take that to there. So that's my light, and I'm going to do the dark now because I can now see where I'm going. So you can see if you just follow one side, I find that's the easiest. Now, I'm no colorist at all. I'd enjoy it, I try, but I would not turn around and say that I am an expert in any shape or form. But like everything, I always turn around and say it's down to practicing. The more you sort of practice, the better or the easier it will become. So I'm literally with this just taking down one side of the leaves. I'm taking it darker where it comes just underneath the stem here, so where it joins onto the flower. And then I'm going to take the light again, and I'm just blending across the two. So just blend it across so that it then comes through. Because by blending it through, it then looks seamless rather than it looking wider. Okay, so that's that part. Now we need to do the trumpets and the actual daffodils. So this is dark daffodil delight, perfect colouring. So just on the inside here. So this is where I'm doing the dark part. In fact, I might do the whole of that trumpet dark and these little bits coming out here. And then this is on the outside, so the piece that's nearer the stem. I'm just colouring here, that's a closed bud, so that part is going to be darker. Take it round. I quite often find that if you take it round to the actual where it is, it's sometimes easier to do that way. So this is where it joins in, so that's going to come darker. I haven't got this, I haven't brought it in, zoomed it in, because I wasn't planning on showing you the colouring as much. But so this is the light, and then the light we can just literally blend it in. Just really rather nice together. I'm just colouring that through. And like everything, your blends, they saturate the paper, so they take a while to dry completely. And as they dry, they will, the tones will be paler. So, and will blend in better. So these are real daffodil colours, which are nice. Now, I turned around and said to you, if you haven't got your blends, you can use, or if one of your blends ends up drying out before the other, we order them in pairs now. So what I have done is I've used the Stamping Right marker to just colour in and give me the dark part if I've wanted to do that. So, but these are literally, I've only just got these ones, so hopefully they will last a little while. Just take them in there. Sorry if it's squeaking on the screen, because I do it quite gently, but you can see there you've got your light and your dark in there, and that's fine. I'm not going to do any more on that. So I can bring one out. This is one that I coloured in earlier on, and you can see once it's dried a bit, you get the darker bits coming through. Because what you can do is you can take the dark again and just add a little bit more in. So if I show you this one, that one I've added just a little bit more in there and brought it in as I've gone. So Really pretty. We'll use the one that we coloured today. So that's our flower done. Now I want to do, I've decided I'm going to take, this is me using my scraps of paper. I've got a scrap here, and I thought it would be quite nice to use these pieces. Let me take this off for a minute. These pieces and this one are from the Poppy set, which is painted label dies. Really useful ones. Again, with the annual catalogue changing over, these have been around for a few years, but they give you some lovely shapes. So again, if it's one that you haven't got, it might be worth having a look at. So I wanted to stamp the Easter from here, Daffodil Daydreams, the Easter Blessings, because I thought that that might be quite nice on there. So let me just get a and I'm going to do it in black, because I want to pick it up with the black that I use. So I'm just going to get my memento, if I can find it. Is it down? Oh, it's already out. Let me grab my memento. And then I'm just going to do it on a scrap. Making sure I've got the right scrap, because this piece was a piece that was left over. So you can see that's not going to fit. So I thought, right, I shall put a little border like this in, which will then fit it in nicely. And then I thought, right, I'll take that in, because then I can get the words on there, because that complements that. So that's the thought process behind it. So I want to cut out the words to put on there, because this is not going to fit on. So I want to have it going in one part and then coming out in the other. So bear with me a second, because I've got a couple of scraps down on here that I was using to die cut, and I don't want to go wasting anything. You know me and wastage. I don't like wasting anything. It's difficult enough at the moment with all of the cost of living and all of those things. You know, we're being more and more frugal, so I live by the way I've always said, you know, make things last, use little tricks and things to cut stuff out, and then you're all right. So that's my Easter Blessings, and I might actually have to cut it out twice. So the only reason I'm doing that is that if there we go. I want to be able to cut both of those pieces out. So I want one to go in across, and I want the other to go down. So I don't think I've got I think I've been using my scissors for something else. Bear with me a second, I'll just see if I've got my snips, because they're really good for cutting things out. Yes, I have. I've got a new pair. I'm terrible. I have so many different pairs of scissors about, because I do sewing and I do crocheting and I do other bits and pieces. Oh, they look as if they need a clean. So we are going to take this out like that, and I quite like the Blessings, but that's not going to go. So the Blessings is going to be just cut round so that it comes out like this. Rather than leaving it to trying to cut it out straight. This will leave it. I'm doing it so I'm not touching it, because I've only just stamped it, and if you're rubbing your hands over it, cutting it out like this, it's very easy to smudge it until it's completely dried. So I am trying to be a little bit careful with it, but we'll see. See if I can get that in round on there, and then just round in on that piece. Okay, so that's the Blessings, which is going to go across like that, because I want that up on there. And then the Easter part, I might actually be able to take that one, we'll see. If not, that's why I tend to cut two, because then I can take I should be actually on this because it's only a little piece. There we go. So I can put the Easter in on here, and I can have the blessings underneath, and that works even though it's too big to actually for it to fit on completely on there. So let me see if I can. I'm going to glue it, I think. So I'm going to put the blessings on first. Just looking to see, I've had my glue on its side, so I was just making sure that it was still. That's fine. Okay, so this is going to come in just across like that. And then the little Easter bit can then go. So by doing the blessings first, it means that then I can balance up the Easter just before it. Okay, so let's put that on there. There we go. So I think that looks quite nice, and then I can put that up and it matches perfectly with that. So that's our little embellishment on there. Now what I need to do is, I've got this, but this I haven't done anything with. So I am living by my thing of not wasting anything. So I'm going to take the Colour and Contour, the scalloped contour dies, and this will make another card because I'm going to be making cards all week. So let me see which size will go in. I think that one will probably fit better than, I'm just trying to see on here because I don't want it to come so far. No, that'll work. Okay, so I'm going to take this one and I'm going to just die cut that out so that then I'm not wasting anything. So look at this flower for a minute, or fast forward it while I just literally die cut this out. Okay, so that's how you don't waste anything. So rather than me turning round and putting that straight on, that has given me another piece that I can now use for my next card. So come back on Thursday, I'll be using this for my next card. So we now have this piece, and I can now put this straight onto my card base, which I've just got out here. So that will go in onto my card base like that, and I can actually stick that on there now because I know that this piece is, I'm pretty sure, is going to work. It might not work because of where I've cut it out, but it actually will, because it gives a scallop at the bottom. So that's even cleverer than I thought it was going to be. So, you know, sometimes you think, well, I'm going to save it, and there's a piece underneath which normally wouldn't work, but this is going to work beautifully. So all we've got is this tiny piece here, and that can go in on here. So that's my frame done. Just take that in, so that's a reasonable size. Okay, so that's that. Then I can put this down on here. Now I was going to add some more little bits to this, and I think I will, because I quite like some of these on here. So rather than keeping it too plain, let's do something with this. So this piece, I've got some, let's just put my lid on here. I've got some, I always keep, and again, if you're doing things, always scraps and bits, keep them in there. So I do tend to keep them in. So I've got bits of daffodils and things to do the three-dimensional ones, but I like this piece and I like the splatter. So we're going to take both of those pieces and see if we can do something with those. So I quite like this. And that's going to have to go down on the edge. Let me get a larger block. So that can go down like that. Now, do I want to do that in? I think I'm going to do it in. I've taken some colours out to just see what colours. So that's the Granny Apple Green and the Daffodil Delight. So I can, no, it's not so saffron, but I thought I might take just something different. So that's Pale Papaya. And I might actually contrast it with a bit of Fresh Freesia, just to give a little bit of a different tone, rather than it being all the same. So we'll ink this up, because this is sort of the border part, like that. And I'm just going to put it in on the centre like that. Oh yes, that's pretty, isn't it? So I quite like that. We don't need any more of that, but that gives a nice sort of finished border on there. And then the spots, I'm going to take this Fresh Freesia because I want it to be just a little bit different. So I'm going to take that off. I will clean it later, and I'll put that one on there. So with this, I'm just going to put a little bit at the top and the bottom, and then just try and dot it about. Turn it round that way. And you can see how I'm sort of filling it in a bit so that it gets a little bit more spotty where I want to, a little bit off the paper like that. And then we need to come up this side. So we're covering the paper, but because it's a pale colour, you see on here there's some little spaces, and that's with spots. You can colour it up as much as you like, but that's given a pretty background without doing too much to it. So let's have this on here. So that's going to go up to that side, and then we've got these pieces to come in on here. So I'm just going to have them literally touched up to the edge. So let's get this piece in first. So we'll take this one out. Okay, so that's that one. We want that up at that edge. So I'm going to do it this way, I think, so I can get the edge where I want it, like that. So that comes to there, and then I've got these two pieces to come here. Now there will be a little slight gap because they're two separate pieces, so what I might have to do is to put a gem or something in that corner to just carry it on, and I'm just literally just gluing on that bit. So this will come from the edge of here and put it on across there, but you can see that where I've cut that out, it gives sort of a second lacy bit, which was a complete accident. But quite often when you have little accidents, they actually turn out to be better than not. And again, it was using up a scrap that wasn't quite wide enough for the card. But rather than going, oh, it's not wide enough, can't use that, I thought, no, I can. I just need to do it slightly differently. So this has got to come down from this corner. So I'm taking it from here, making sure it comes right up to that corner. Like that. And you can see we've got a space left in the middle there. So I need to find, let me find a gem of some sort that will go in there. So I've got some hearts, which are quite nice for sort of Easter. I've got, now this I think will work. So this is, or I've got I'm going to put the other things on. There's several pieces that I might use. So those, a little flower in the centre there, I think might look quite nice. One of these gold ones might look quite nice, or a heart pearl. But until I've got the other pieces on, I'm going to do it so it coordinates. So we've got this piece, which is the one that we've coloured. That's going to go down in the centre like that. And I think I'm going to have the Easter blessings down like that. Okay, so I'm going to put these up with dimensionals because I want the height to it. And I just want those different layers. So let's get some dimensionals. Now I am using these contraband ones, which I was given, as I told you, I was given a whole pack of dimensionals. So rather than wasting them, I am going to be using them. But obviously you can buy really nice dimensionals from the link that I will always put down. And you know, I'm not going to turn around and say that these are anything special at all. They're not, but they do the job. And as I say, I'm not going to be just not using them when they were given to me. It is about, you know, making use of what you've got and adding the things that you like. So, you know, with Stampin' Up, you can, if it's the stamp sets and things you really love, then buy your stamp sets from them. You know, if you prefer paper from other places, then get the paper from other places. You know, there's no rights and wrongs in crafting. I think sometimes we beat ourselves up a lot about it, and we don't have to. We can enjoy crafting in all its shapes and forms, and it's about a journey of enjoying. So, you know, don't think that you have to have it all. I know that it's quite tempting, particularly with new catalogues coming out shortly, that we turn around and go, oh, I want it all, I want it all. And, you know, and then we get upset when we can't have it all. And, you know, you need to make sure that your budget goes to the things that you want and the things that you need, rather than saying I'm going to have it all the time. So when I first started, I was like, I need it all, I wanted to collect it all, I wanted to, and now I'm very much, okay, how many things have I actually used? How many things do I think I will use? Do I need all of these? And, you know, yes, it's slightly different from me because I buy more than I would probably use just myself, because I need to have good amounts of stock to show you. And, you know, I do classes and things as well. So I need a good variety of things to be able to show people. And if people then turn around and say, oh, really want that, and I can't offer it to them because it's not in the catalogue, then I'm not doing them a good service. So I do tend to buy more than most people would, but I think literally straight in the center there I think will work nicely. And then we're going to have this one down the bottom. But it's lovely to be able to make the amount of people that, you know, love the comments and always turn around and say, you know, I really enjoy making cards and things. Okay, so we need something in that little space. I think it's going to be one of these, because I don't want it to detract too much, but it needs to be there to cover up that little space. So I think it's going to be this one, but I'm going to take it off first. So just take that off like that and see if that will go. Yes, it will. I just need to have it so that it comes in and covers up those two spaces just nicely in between. So I just need to make sure that it's, whoops, that it goes nicely in between on there and it's level, because there's a dip in there. It's not being quite as level as it probably should be. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a little dimensional, and in fact I'm going to be using, let me use one of the Stampin' Up, the little mini dimensional is what I want, because have I got some minis? Those are standards. Oh yes, I have. Right, okay, so what I need to do is, you can see how this is just not sitting proudly because there's a dip there. So what I'm going to do is, let's put that down there for a minute. I'm going to take a little dimensional and I'm going to put that in on that space, and that's why I'm using the minis, because they are just perfect. Then I can put this in on top like that, because then it just sticks up a little bit, but there we are, it just goes in there, and I don't think you need any more. I could put one sort of at the top and the bottom to sort of balance it. What do we reckon? Just one, or should I have, I think I should probably have three actually. So I can get the two of the smaller ones, and we'll have one just up on there, and these will be fine because they're going to go on to the side piece that we want. And then I'll put the other one just about there, so it's equidistant. So we've got three, because three is a good balance. So there we are, a very pretty simple card, but using up all of the little pieces and things to make a pretty card. So I hope you've enjoyed that. As always, please stay safe and well, please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.